Hello, and welcome to the Vibrant Life Podcast. My name is Dr. Alice Prince, and I am your host. Now, the purpose of this podcast is to make sure we become better versions of ourselves each and every day. Because as a teacher, as an influencer of education, when we become better versions of ourselves, our children are better. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters. So in this podcast, of course, we're talking about diversity and inclusion. But diversity and inclusion, it's way more than just a black and white issue. It's about how children learn and the different learning techniques that we need to practice in order for our children to learn better. So imagine this. A student sitting in class at 8:30 a.m. It's Monday, and you know how we all feel about Mondays. The student is struggling to pay attention and not engaged in the class at all. As you observe the nonverbal communication from this student, you're wondering to yourself, why is this student not engaged today? So, as a teacher, what do you do? My beautiful people, this is called the science of learning. So, have you considered biology and cognitive approaches? Whether the student ate breakfast or did the student drink coffee? Did the student get a night of poor sleep? Which impacts memory? Is the student taking medication maybe for anxiety or depression or even attention? Have you considered the psychological perspective of this student? See, the learning will be influenced by the way the student conceptualizes the classroom experience and expectations. Beliefs about their academic performance, expectations for the class, a sense of how the material relates to their daily lives and their own personal and spiritual goals. What about this real-time mental competition? You do know that you're competing against what's coming on television that night, or a football game that maybe will be happening on Friday nights, or a breakup of a boyfriend or girlfriend, an argument that they may have had with a parent prior to, or just what's happening on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and all the other social media. And what about how the moods of the young person, how their friendship and their moods are calibrated based on friend groups and friendships? And is she my friend today? Is he my friend today? Have you considered all of that? The student's sociological domain. The student arrives to school having been influenced for years by their family's social norms and personal history, association to gender-related ideologies, religion, race, ethnicity, culture, parents' perspective, neighborhood conditions, church, family, and lack thereof. See, there are so many influences that impact a child each and every day. Other influences include the classroom climate, the instructional culture, the institutional culture, the culture of the church, the culture of politics, and let's just face it, television, Netflix, Amazon, the music they listen to, YouTube. Oh yeah, YouTube is a big one. My son told me he wanted to be a YouTuber. I didn't know there was a such thing as a career in YouTubing. Social media, friends, classmates, all of those things make a huge difference, influence, and impact our children each and every day. Yikes! So now you ask me that question. Why is this student not engaged today? Well, see, There's a thing called learners. You have to view learners as biopsychosocial systems. And if you are a teacher with 20 students in your class, you have 20 separate biopsychosocial systems running around the classroom. It's the interrelationships of cognitive, psychological, and biological influences on the learning process. See, students do not learn in a vacuum. Woo! How many students did you say you had again? So, here are some techniques. In your classroom, use failures and mistakes as opportunities to learn and grow. Allow your students to do what's called self-regulated learning. See, students take responsibility for their learning, emotions, and behaviors. Another very important strategy is to find out what your students' optimal learning strategies are. See, we all have them. How does your student learn best? Think about the time of day. Think about what happens before lunch, before gym, after gym. Use a practice called the Retrieval Practice. That has to be my favorite practice. When we think about learning, we typically focus on getting information into the student's head. Am I right or wrong? I'm right about that. What if instead we focused on getting information out? See, that's called the Retrieval Practice. Retrieval practice is a learning strategy where we focus on getting information out. They walk in the room every day and look, do I see myself? For example, the books, the stories that you tell, the examples. What about the messages? Cartoons, the songs, and even informal conversations. Can your students relate? Do they see themselves? So, how can you collectively nurture all of your students? See, that's the hard part, but that's a characteristic that you possess. Because teaching is not a job, it's a calling. And teaching in a Catholic school, it's a special calling. The first thing to do is to re-examine the books, the stories, examples that you use in your classroom. Look at the pictures on the wall. Look at the toys in the toy box. Could your classroom be more inclusive? Ask yourself. The scripture that this comes from today is Joshua 1, verse 9. Have I not commanded you? Be strong. Be courageous. Do not be frightened and do not be dismayed, or God is with you wherever you go. So what I want you to do is be strong. Be courageous. God has commanded you. You have answered the call. You are a Catholic school teacher. See, that's more than just a career. It's a calling. And you are walking down the journey. So, my fellow Catholic educators, I implore you to share our similarities and celebrate our differences. So, I love this artist called Aretha Franklin, and I know you know who she is. And she had this very famous song called Respect. 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 Find out what it means to me. Respect. It means a lot to me. My lived experiences are important, and so are yours. My understanding is important, and so is yours. How can I be a better version of me without diminishing you? How can I love you if I don't find value in me. RESPECT. Find out what it means to me. RESPECT. Well, it means a lot to me. I want to share my authentic self, but I am scared. I want to have the freedom of expression, but I believe my expression won't be heard. I want to share my space, but only if it's safe. Yes, see, some of us may have a sense of entitlement. But teachers, we all need the proper enlightenment. RESPECT. Find out what that means to me. RESPECT. See, that word means a lot to me. Let's be clear. We are not perfect and we will make mistakes. But as long as we have respect, things will always be okay. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. Please email me with any questions that you may have. I promise I will answer them on the next episode. Please email me with any questions you have. My email address is aprince@federationofcatholicschools.org. Yes, that's a long one, but it's aprince@federationofcatholicschools.org. Have a blessed week. Thank you.